Hello, dear beloveds. It is a true privilege to be here with you live. It has been quite some time. I have been deeply immersed in a gorgeous family relocation. We headed up to Magnetic Island for a couple of weeks. That is, for those of you who don't know, just off the coast of Townsville in far north Queensland. And along with that, just before that, was the postgraduate retreat. So I have been for most of the month of August, not in my beautiful little office at home, but traveling around Australia. And what a privilege that is. Excuse me, I forgot to put on my lip balm. Of course, this is essential for all talking. And so I am back, and I will be doing a lot more lives for the next few months, and that's also part of, what I love most to do. Excuse me, I'm going to put these on so I can see better as well. And really what I wanted to share today is something very exciting that is coming up starting tomorrow, and has been a long time in the making, and yet it feels like no time at all. So I'm going to share with you what this is in just a few moments, because it really is the next phase of the revolution for the Institute, and it's sort of going to be a game changer in ways that I don't think I've quite come to understand or realize, and won't really understand until it happens. But before I jump into that, I thought this is a really good opportunity. There's lots of new followers around here, to define what intuitive intelligence is versus intuition, and also to look a little bit at what is in non-local intuition and why it matters so much. So I'm just going to jump into those two topics, and then I will be sharing with you the revolution, the next phase in the Institute's mandate of mainstreaming the intuitive sciences, which is beginning tomorrow. Oh my goodness. So first of all, what is intuitive intelligence? The Institute's name is the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence. So we obviously have some ideas about this. How does it differ from intuition? And the answer to this is very simple. For me, what turns intuition into intuitive intelligence is something that I call spiritual fierceness. Now, if I break that down a little bit more, I want you to think of intuition as an innate capacity within each and every one of us. It's not special, it's not magical, we all have it, and we all have it in equal measure. But what we have in different amounts is either our natural connection to it, or more often, our willingness and our desire to increase or enhance our innate intuition. So what this means to me is that when you apply the pressure of intense practice and devotion and a willingness to go deeper with any subject, you get better at it, yes? And so what takes intuition from its innate kind of latent state into that state of being that I call intuitive intelligence? And state of being is really important here, because it goes far beyond something we tap into intermittently. But this idea of intuitive intelligence is born through a deep devotion, a deep commitment to meet our intuitive knowing at the deepest possible level. And this is what weds us to it as a state of being, something that is there present with us as the leader, if you like, of our consciousness in every moment. That means we are not deferring to the cranial brain first, we defer to the wisdom of intuitive intelligence, which resides in the heart brain first. We are changing our position. The majority of the planet are cranial brain identified, and that's because that's how our education system works. It's how we're taught, to learn and understand and make meaning out of the world. It's what we're shown as normal in the majority of the world, particularly the Western world. This is not so true outside of the dominant Western paradigm, but in the West, we absolutely privilege logic and cranial brain thinking. And it's an asset to have these things, of course, but what we do when we turn our intuition on, and through devotion and practice and a commitment to ever increasing our skill as intuitives, we can turn our intuition into intuitive intelligence, which is that state of being. We are living then from the heart's intuitive intelligence. We're living from our highest form of intelligence, and the benefits to us are innumerable. And they include optimizing the systems of our body so that everything comes into homeostasis or optimal functioning. We create a neural superhighway between the heart brain and the cranial brain. And as a result, our cranial thinking, or our logical reasoning mind, becomes so much clearer and more accurate as well. So when we defer to the wisdom of our heart's intuitive intelligence, and we actually learn to train ourselves to think and live from that state, we are no longer thinking, I'll consult the oracle cards, I'll pick a crystal, I'll ask a question of my guides. everything is an interior state of being. We're recognizing there's no separation between us and the infinite one mind, where all consciousness, all knowledge, all wisdom, all time and space resides. And this is where I get into non-locality. What is non-local intuition versus the biological forms of intuition, which is very often what people are taught to access and are not what are interesting to me or to the Institute. Non-locality is an idea from quantum physics, which is basically that there can be communication between particles at a distance, and that distance can be, billions of light years, it can be in the next room, it makes no difference. And that extends beyond the level of the subatomic particle to us as individual consciousnesses, although even that is a misnomer because all consciousness is one. The belief in separation, this idea that I'm separate from you, I'm separate from the tulips, I'm separate from everybody who's watching now, is an illusion. Let's just stick with that illusion for a moment for the purposes of keeping this discussion to a reasonable amount of time. What I'm doing when I tune into non-local intuition then is I'm connecting through the inherent interconnectedness of all consciousness to that one mind, or the field, or the divine matrix, or the God mind, as I call it, whatever you call it. Most people have an idea of what it is. Greg Braden calls it the divine matrix. Joe Dispenza calls it the field. Whatever it is that you describe it as, it doesn't make any difference. The idea is there is inherent interconnectedness between all life. And when we train our non-local intuition, we learn how to access that non-local information acausally. So in other words, we do not have to travel to the time and space of the person we're tuning into. We don't have to be at the historical moment where the event occurred. We don't have to do anything other than train our consciousness to travel on our behalf, and that happens instantly, to access information that will be relevant and useful for whatever we're using our intuition for at that time, whether it's in service to a client or to make a big life choice or just to choose what you have for breakfast. It makes no difference. There's no order of difficulty in miracles according to God consciousness. It doesn't matter what you're requesting support on. What we understand, however, when we're tuning into non-local intuition versus this old-fashioned kind of out-of-date idea, when we're not readily up to date with the science, is that we're going somewhere outside of ourselves to access information through a card or through a crystal or through another person. And that is the biggest lie that we've been told and that we keep telling ourselves. So even though non-locality is about accessing information from the one mind, the true thing that we have to overcome here, the true impediment to being able to understand this, is that that one mind is actually in here. So if we understand the first cosmic law, the law of mentalism, all is one and all is of the one mind, we have to begin to understand that we aren't actually going out at all, we're going in. And even that is pure semantics, because of course there is no separation, all is one. And so we're truly just immersing ourselves more fully in what we truly are. We're overcoming all of these blocks and obstacles that are placed by belief in separation, and we're accessing who we are in truth, which is infinite, unlimited consciousness. That's why the central question that we ask around intuition in the Institute is, do I know that I am pure, unlimited consciousness? Because that question is the key to unlocking your intuitive intelligence, combined with devotion, practice, that spiritual fierceness, that tapas or that fire that will actually turn your intuition on beyond it being a trinket and superstition that you use occasionally to a state of being that you live in all of the time. So this leads me joyfully to share with you what is happening beginning tomorrow. And as I say, this is the next wave for the Institutes, the next phase of our mandate and our commitment to lead the revolution in the intuitive sciences. I have coming into Melbourne, many of them are coming from interstate, and next month I'll also be traveling to Ireland to train some more of these amazing women, all graduates of the third level program, who've put their hand up with great willingness and joy to say, yes, I will be part of the revolution. And they will be trained as teachers of intuitive intelligence. And so this knowledge that I have been teaching for the last 5 years as the core work of the Institute will be placed into their care. And these amazing women, and they're all remarkable women, there's 16 in total, are the ones who will be charged with the responsibility of taking the revolution out to the world, because intuitive intelligence is the next generation of intuition. Beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the new age, it is about connecting us to our optimized, fully realized selves and moving us closer to the truth of what we are, which is pure, unlimited consciousness. And this information needs to be readily available. It needs to be available in the mainstream. As many people as possible need to be talking about it. And the training came about because I recognized that for me to fulfill the mandate that I've been given by that God consciousness, I could not do this on my own. I don't want to do it on my own. And I've always known that the day would come where I would entrust this wisdom that has been entrusted to me by God to people that I know can carefully, joyfully, and with the level of understanding and depth that they possess. The third level graduates are all remarkable women. I couldn't imagine anyone more qualified to do this work, to take the work out into the world. So for the next 4 days, beginning tomorrow, I will be joined by 14 of the women. Next September, I will be in Ireland, and I'll be joined by 2 more of the women who are based in the UK, and they will be trained to be teachers of intuitive intelligence, and they're going to take this out into the world in whatever way they want to. The wisdom that I'm passing on is theirs now to share in whatever format they're excited about. And I'm just so thrilled that so many of the graduates of the third level have accepted this responsibility, because it is truly precious to me, and it isn't personal, it isn't about me, it isn't mine, it's been entrusted to me, but it needs to go further than I alone can share it, and these are the women to do that, and I'm just so honored that they've said yes. So intuitive intelligence teacher training will be happening for the next 4 days at the Shambhala Centre, near the Heidi, in Melbourne. It's beautifully cold. Lots of them are coming from much warmer climates. God bless them. I will bring extra blankets, I promise. But all the information that I've been sharing about intuition, non-locality, and understanding what intuitive intelligence is as an evolution on from our ideas of intuition, it will be their task now to continue that conversation and to take it out into the world. And I'm just going to hold on to my hat and see what happens, because I have no idea how big this can be. I have no real understanding. I think at this point I'm still sitting in this kind of absolute space of, oh my goodness, we've just got here to the training. That's awesome. It's so cool. But I feel like in a few months' time, I'm going to potentially be looking at this and going, oh my goodness, this just went so much further, so much bigger, so much more exciting than I could have imagined. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be doing a lot more lives from now on, and I'll be sharing some updates over the weekend of the teacher training and letting you know how we're going, what's exciting us, what's challenging us. For all of us, this is brand new. I've never taught this before. I've never taught the course. I've never taught it to other people to teach. And that's a big step in my evolution as well as a teacher. And it's been a great up-leveling for me, but also a really joyful experience. And I've felt more information land with me around what intuitive intelligence is and its power to truly change the world. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm pretty confident that many of you are too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is my privilege to serve you as always. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye.